It's the trial of Roger Freed, the former principal at Williamsport Area High School. We're going beyond just the headlines, though. We've got court documents, public reactions, a whole bunch of stuff to really get into it. I'm Steve Marshall.
I'm Beth Fulmer, and together we host the Lycoming County podcast.
Exactly.
So Freed was facing some really serious accusations. 30 counts of sexual contact with a student and 1 count of corruption of minors.
And this trial was supposed to last all week, but then, bam, mistrial.
Yeah, and it wasn't a hung jury or anything like that.
No, it was because of something the alleged victim said on the stand.
Right, he claimed that Freed asked him about being involved with another teacher, Michelle Polizzi.
And that Freed even hinted at other teachers maybe being involved too.
Which is huge, because at the time, Freed was still the principal of the high school, so he was legally required to report any suspected inappropriate relationships between teachers and students.
Meaning, these statements by the alleged victim implicate Freed in a whole other crime, failing to report suspected abuse.
Exactly. Judge Linhart said he couldn't be sure the jury would be able to disregard those statements, so mistrial it is.
It's a pretty crazy turn of events.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about Michelle Polizzi, the teacher Freed allegedly asked about.
So she was also accused of having an inappropriate relationship with the same student.
Right.
And she ended up pleading no contest to a harassment charge.
And got probation.
And she had to give up her teaching license.
Which is interesting considering Freed facing way more serious charges, and his trial ended in a mistrial.
It makes you wonder if there are different standards of justice at play here.
So we've got Polizzi getting probation and losing her license for harassment. Freed's trial ending in a mistrial for much more serious charges, and Durr basically getting a slap on the wrist for 28 felonies.
It's a pattern, isn't it?
Seems like there might be something going on here.
3 people in positions of authority, a principal, a teacher, and a police officer, all accused of abusing their power, and all facing different levels of accountability.
It definitely raises the question, are people with connections in Lycoming County getting off easier than everyone else?
It's a question a lot of people are asking, and we're going to dig into it even further. But first, we need to take a look at how the public is reacting to all of this. You know, public perception can really play a role in a case like this. I mean, we've been looking at news articles and social media, and there are definitely some strong opinions out there about the Freed case.
Yeah, you've got some people who are absolutely convinced he's guilty, pointing to the serious nature of the charges and the fact that he was suspended from his job. They see him as someone who used his position to take advantage of a student.
But then you have others who are like, wait a minute, hold on. They question the alleged victim's credibility, bringing up his past legal issues and the fact that those charges were eventually dropped.
And of course, you have folks who are somewhere in the middle, just waiting to see how it all plays out. It's a complicated situation for sure.
Yeah.
And it feeds into this idea that certain people are above the law, or at least treated differently because of their badge or their connections.
It's a dangerous precedent.
It erodes public trust and creates this sense that certain behaviors are okay if you're in the right circles.
So what does all of this mean for the average person in Lycoming County?
I think the biggest takeaway is that we can't just sit back and watch this happen. We have to be informed, engaged, and willing to speak up when we see injustice.
Absolutely. We have to hold our leaders accountable, demand transparency, and create a culture where these kinds of behaviors aren't tolerated, no matter who's involved.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So as we wrap up this deep dive, what are the big things you hope people are taking away from this?
I think the biggest takeaway is that justice is complicated. These cases aren't simple. There are so many layers and perspectives. And even when a case is closed, there can still be questions and concerns.
Exactly. We've seen that here in Lycoming County. These 3 cases have really stirred things up, and they made people question things like power and accountability, and whether everyone is treated equally by the justice system.